work, I was accepted into a prestigious university. And it was something I had been working towards for a long time. But after the excitement faded, I remember feeling an unexpected emptiness. I had achieved my goal, but I still felt lost, as if something important was missing in my life. A few months later, one of my uni friends invited me to her church. She had grown up in a Christian family, and there was something very different about her. She was consistently kind, calm, and joyful, even in difficult situations. I was curious about that. I wanted to understand what gave her that sense of peace, so I agreed to go with her. My first church experience happened to be the Stations of Cross just before Easter. The service was held on the mountain, and the church was located on the peak of the mountain. As we walked up from the foot towards the church, there were stations telling the story of Jesus' journey to the cross. At that time, I knew very little about Jesus, and I didn't really understand what Easter meant. But as I walked and reflected on what I was seeing, something began to change in my heart. I started to feel the weight of Jesus' suffering and also the depth of his love. By the time I reached the church, I was in tears. It was the first time I truly understood that Jesus died for me, even though I had done nothing to deserve it. In that moment, I felt a deep sense of peace that I had never experienced before. Looking back now, I know that was the first time I encountered God personally. Not long after that, I came to Australia. At the time, I thought it was simply an adventure and an opportunity to find direction in my life. But now I can see that God was guiding me, even when I did not realize it. Over the years, God has been faithful in every step. He has given me far more than I could have planned for myself. I met my husband Josh, who is a strong believer, and together we now raising 2 daughters in faith. We have found a home here in Geelong and in this church community. At this stage of my life, my faith looks quite different from the first emotional encounter. It is less about a single moment and more about daily trust. It is about how I live, how I make decisions, and how I respond to challenges. As a parent, I often think about how to raise my daughters in faith when I did not grow up with that foundation myself. I did not have Christian parents modeling this for me, so I am learning as I go. I want them to know God, not just through what I say, but through what they see in our home, in how we treat each other, how we respond when things are difficult, and how we place God at the center of our lives. It is not always easy. There are moments when I feel inadequate or unsure of what I'm doing or if I'm doing enough. But I'm constantly reminded that it is God who works in their hearts, just as he walked in mine all those years ago. My role is to be faithful, to guide them, and to trust him with the rest. In my work as well, I see many young people who come from non-religious backgrounds, just like I did. Many of them are searching, even if they do not realize it yet. This has given me a deeper sense of purpose. I try to model Christian values in the way I speak, act, and care for them, hoping that, in some small ways, they might see something different, just as I once saw my friend who brought me to her church more than 20 years ago. Most recently, through Bible study and fellowship, I have come to understand more deeply the meaning of Jesus' sacrifice and God's grace. My faith has grown from the first moment of peace into something more grounded and enduring. I am still learning every day what it means to follow Jesus in all areas of my life. One verse that has stayed with me from the beginning is John 3:16. For God so loved the world that he gave his one and only Son, that whoever believes in him shall not perish, but have eternal life. This truth first touched my heart when I was 17, and it continues to shape my life today. Looking back, I can see that God met me when I was lost, guided me when I did not know where I was going, and continues to sustain me in this season of life. And for that,